What did your monthly revenues look like from month 1 to 5?
I think I did about $30,000 in about a 6-week period. And then it quickly grew to an annual run rate of around 800,000. So there was one organization that came in and said, we want to build this thing that's going to help train people. I said, okay, I know nothing about this area. I said, send me everything. I want presentations, documents. I want you to dictate into a Word document everything about this project. I take all that and then I start using AI, Claude in this example, to really understand what's going on, and then delivered a fully functional training application around this. So one meeting, one dump of information, using AI to get understanding, to build a solution, deliver it days later, and their minds are blown.
For someone that wants to start doing something like this, what do you recommend they do to get their first customer? Because that's the hardest one, right?
Yeah, I would say just go see if you can solve a problem for somebody first.
For free even?
Yeah, I would. That's kind of,
yeah.
Until you get confident enough that you can do it. And then I would just start rolling up that price. But yeah, I would go look for these use cases inside of companies, and they're everywhere. I just kind of sit down and have a conversation.
Yeah.
And I ask the what question.
Find the pain points.
Yeah. Why do you do that? Where does that happen? When does that happen? You'll hear things like, that takes us hours, that's done manually. And so you get good at listening for these, and then just see if you can put something together. So that's how I'd say to get started.
How much of what you're implementing is actually AI, and how much of it is just an automation? It doesn't matter, right? If it solves the problem, but...
Yeah, there's two ways that I look at it. AI is offering solutions that didn't exist before through features, like in ChatGPT you can do this, or in that's one way that it's solving problems. But the other way is it's just making us so much more efficient at building software or in building solutions. So there's sometimes that I'm solving a problem, I'm using AI to quickly build the solution out for a cost and a time period that wouldn't have been available before, but the actual solution I deliver has very little AI in it.
You're using AI to build it, but the delivery of it is not AI.
Yeah, it's in the past you couldn't spin up a bespoke application in a cost-efficient manner, and now I can do that.
And then back to the first customer question, where do you think they go from there? Like, they get someone to have their problem solved by you, by them. You do that for free. What's the likelihood of that business owner needing an additional problem solved and being willing to pay for that second one?
100%.
Yeah. Because you just open the floodgates.
Yeah, I think especially in this industry, at this time in history, if you can prove that you can do one meaningful thing like that, you go to a company, you're going to immediately, even through the survey process that I do in the beginning, that audit, we're pulling out 40 use cases just from that.
Wow.
There's a ton, and some of them are good, and some of them are AI, and some of them are not AI, and whatever. But it's a unique time in history where people are doing this, companies are doing this inventory of what's possible. I've not had an interaction where there hasn't been follow-on work.
Yeah. Because if I start like a web design agency and I have no customers, I'll do a first website for free, and then they're good. And then I use that as a case study.
Yep.
Here's my portfolio of one website. I charge $500, and you're going to be much more likely to get that second job. But in this business, it's like, I built this AI voice agent for an HVAC business owner, and now he needs me to do a chatbot on his website.
Yep.
And I'm going to charge $500 for that. Oh, now he needs me to do this. I'm going to charge $3,000 for that, right?
Yep.
And then you have revenue, and you have case studies, and you probably have some referrals in there. Are you getting good referrals?
Yes, but there's also other people that don't want to tell other folks.
They don't want you to get too busy.
You to get taken away, right? Yeah. So I have received more referrals than I've been able to service at this point. And building this, I don't know what it looks like in the future. Most of the higher end companies that I'm doing work for, they do want to bring me on full time. There's a layer of fear that exists in the enterprise that maybe didn't exist with other technologies. The best companies are bringing in somebody like me to address that and say, hey, we're investing in this transformation and in you, so don't worry about your job. We're going to make you a better employee and do your job better. But they want a face for that. They don't want some random consultant just coming in and being like, here's the AI person. They're going to bring in 6 people and do the different stuff. So I am learning that. It's a personal thing. So.
How long did it take you from month 1 to 5, where we are today, to go from going out and finding customers to, I don't need to find any more, like, they're finding me, I'm good, I don't need to hustle anymore? Does that make sense? Like, when did the tide turn?
I hate that I'm going to answer this way.
Okay.
Because most of my life has been around grinding to find customers.
Yeah.
Creative marketing. Like, I've done all the things.
Yeah.
This one didn't happen like that.
Yeah.
There was people from the jump that were interested.
What did your monthly revenues look like from month 1 to 5?
I'll put it this way. I think I did about $30,000 worth of small projects in about a 6-week period. And then it quickly grew to an annual run rate of around 800,000 through different engagements and stuff.
So roughly 20,000 a month to 60, 70, 80,000 a month
Yeah.
over the course of 5 months.
That's the kind of potential that's out there right now, yeah.
That's incredible. What is like a good example of a small project, like a small solution that you provide an organization? That's very common.
Yeah. So there was one organization that came in and said, we want to build this thing that's going to help train people. It's going to be for a specific group of people, and it's a very complex subject matter, and we want a better experience for training people. And I said, okay, I know nothing about this area, but the way that we work together now is changing. So in this particular instance, I did the initial call, and then I said, send me everything. I want presentations, documents. I want you, subject matter expert, to dictate into a Word document everything about this project. I want, like, snow me under with information. I take all that, and then I start using AI, Claude Code in this example, to really understand what's going on, do internet research, like figure out what's happening. And then in like 10 days delivered it was for them as a proof of concept, but like a fully functional training application around this. So one meeting, one dump of information, using AI to get understanding, to build a solution, deliver it days later, and their minds are blown. I'm a big fan of getting a Miro board or a Lucid, whatever you use, and then right with the client being like, okay, this box is X, tell me what happens next. That goes over here and does this, and that goes over here. So kind of my approach is looking more for the workflow first than like the product opportunity, the app opportunity. So I don't know if that...
Yeah. What does the sales process look like, or the discovery call process look like? What kind of tips or tactics do you use to get them closer to a yes?
A lot of times on these initial calls, I am, I'll do an intro, a little rapport building, whatever, and then I'll just, say, take me through your journey, your experience with AI. Where are you at? Are you a strong adopter? Are you scared about it? Whatever. And people generally get pretty verbose in that response. I like it. I play around with it sometime. My kids showed me this. So I try to get their feelings around AI first before I go to the next step. But the next step is always that workflow piece. So like, have you thought about anything where you think AI could help? It's this, or this. I try to never solution on those calls. So I think it's bad to midway through be like, what you could do is this. So just ask questions, get them talking. What happens if you fix this problem? It's classic sales stuff, right? Spin selling, like implication, like if you could fix that, what's going to happen? If you don't fix it, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff, classic sort of sales tactic. And then usually the process after that is to go back with several options. Like, here are 4 different ways to engage.
Yeah, I know that I'm not very good at selling. And I know that on a call like that, I would offer solutions in the moment, right? Like, well, you could do this. And I do that from a place of, I'm going to show you how smart I am, so you'll say yes. Why isn't that a good idea?
Well, first of all, you shut down the process. Like, as soon as you start solutioning, then the discovery is done. And you're looking for a lot of stuff. You want to find 3, 4, 5, 6 different use cases. And as soon as you start solutioning, then you get them. That's number one. Number 2 is you don't have all the information yet. You might offer something that is not doable, and now you just shot yourself.
You could do yourself more harm than good, right?
Yeah.
Like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yep, exactly. And it does come back to, there's an old chart when I was a financial advisor. It's like your classic X, Y axis, but it's a U shape, and it's effectiveness of selling over time. When you're young in the business and a rookie, you're very effective because you don't know anything, so what do you do?
That could be an advantage.
You ask questions.
Yeah.
You're like, tell me about, why is that important to you? And then what if we did that? But then as we mature as salespeople, we start to think we know the answers to the questions.
A curse of knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. You become less effective. And the very best salespeople at the end know all the answers and still only ask questions.
If you could wave a magic wand, you had a $100,000 opportunity in front of you. You could pick the industry that you were going to pitch this opportunity to. What industry would you pick because they would be most likely to close? What's the best industry?
Let me maybe answer the question in a different way. I would want the industry that I'm going to be able to provide the most value to versus like close, because I think I could close a lot of them that wouldn't work. And I'll give you an example. If you're a company that has like a heavy PII, personal identifiable information burden in part of your core.
What does that mean?
You move around a lot of personal information, which social security numbers,
data integrity.
It's not so much data integrity, but like just, we're a data company, and we handle all this data, which includes emails and medical records and all that kind of stuff.
Like a fintech company or healthcare?
Healthcare would be that deal with sensitive information. So the first thing would be like the perfect industry / company would be one that doesn't deal heavily in PII as part of their core product offering. Those that are forward-looking, they are interested in taking chances and AI, like curious. But every single company out there has this need for how do we take AI and operationalize it into the business. And so for me, it's not really about industry. It's about how ready that company is or that group is to take on these types of projects and this type of thinking.
You might not know this, but this is not my full channel. If you want to watch the full episode of the segment that you just saw, go ahead and check this out or the link in the description.